Hey, did you see the game last night? I asked, trying to sound casual as I glanced up from the kitchen counter. Mark shrugged, eyes flickering to his phone for just a second before he caught himself. Yeah, caught the last quarter. Crazy. Finish, I smiled, feeling that familiar warmth. That easy rhythm we'd had since the day we met. Our morning coffee rituals, the way he always kissed my forehead before leaving, how he'd call just to say, I love you, no matter how busy he was. I clung to those moments like lifelines, but lately, something felt off. You okay? I pushed gently, watching him close his phone a little too quickly. Yeah, just tired. He mumbled, tired. The word hung between us. I wanted to believe it. I needed to. Because what if it wasn't just tiredness? What if the late nights at work were something else? Did you grab dinner on the way home again? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He nodded, but his eyes didn't meet mine. Yeah, something quick. I swallowed the lump in my throat and smiled. We should eat together more. I miss that. Mark gave a tight smile. Maybe this weekend? Maybe, I echoed, hoping he meant it later. I found myself scrolling through our photo album on my phone. There we were smiling at our wedding, carefree and full of hope. I whispered, we were so happy. The quiet in the apartment was deafening. Days passed, and those little things kept piling up. The sudden phone calls he'd take behind closed doors, the new cologne I didn't recognize, the way his laughter seemed forced around me but easy elsewhere. I caught myself watching him when he thought I wasn't looking, searching for answers I wasn't sure I wanted. Mark, I said one evening, voice barely above a whisper as he got ready for bed. Is there something you're not telling me? He paused, the zipper on his jacket halfway up. What? No, why would you think that? Because your phone lights up at 2 a.m. I wanted to say instead. I bit my lip and nodded. Okay, but the doubt didn't leave me. One night, while he was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I told myself not to look, but curiosity clawed at me. Just one glance, I thought. There it was, a message preview that wasn't meant for me. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible. My heart froze. My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. I shut it quickly, telling myself I was imagining things. Maybe it's just a friend. I whispered to the empty room, but I knew. When Mark stepped out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, I tried to meet his eyes, but mine betrayed me. Everything okay? He asked, voice gentle. I nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah, just tired, I guess. He smiled back, oblivious to the storm inside me. That night I lay awake, mind racing. How do you hold on when the ground beneath you starts to crumble? When the man you loved might be hiding a secret that could shatter everything? I wanted to scream, to ask, to confront, but fear held me silent. Instead, I whispered to the dark, please don't let this be true. I kept telling myself I was imagining things. Maybe I was just tired or stressed. But every time Mark's phone buzzed and he hit the screen, my chest tightened. Maybe I'm overthinking. I whispered to myself as I sat alone on the couch, staring at the blank TV dot, then my hand twitched. I reached over and grabbed his phone from the coffee table when I thought he wasn't looking. My heart hammered. No messages this time. I put it back quickly, telling myself not to go down this rabbit hole. But later that night, alone in the bathroom, I couldn't resist. I unlocked his phone with the pattern I knew by heart. Scrolling through messages. There a text thread with a name I didn't recognize. Friendly at first, hey, you free tonight? Then, can't wait to see you. I shut the phone and swallowed the lump rising in my throat. When Mark came in, I tried to act normal. Hey, did you finish that report? I asked, voice shaky. He glanced up, smiled. Yeah, been busy all day. Sorry if I've been distant. Busy dot dot. Busy, I repeated softly, trying to keep the hurt out of my voice. Is something wrong? He sat next to me, concerned. Nothing. I forced a smile. Just tired too. I told my best friend Emma over coffee. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I confessed. Emma frowned. Have you talked to him about it? I want to, but what if I'm wrong? What if I'm just being paranoid? Trust your gut, but don't jump to conclusions. That night, Mark got home late. I was stuck at work. He said, dropping his bag. I nodded, biting my lip. Why do you keep checking my phone? He asked suddenly, eyes sharp. I'm not. I lied, heart racing. Feels like you don't trust me anymore. I just want us to be okay. He laughed, a little too harsh. Maybe you're making a big deal out of nothing. I looked away, the sting in his words sinking in. Days passed, and I replayed every conversation. Was I too needy? Too suspicious? When I asked who was that text from, he smiled and said, just a client. But the smile didn't reach his eyes. I want to believe you, I whispered. He shrugged. Maybe I'm just tired too. At work, Emma noticed my mood. You look exhausted. Everything okay at home? I shook my head. I'm scared I'm losing him. Then fight for yourself, she said firmly. One evening, I finally confronted him directly. Mark, please be honest with me. Are you seeing someone else? His face hardened. No, I love you. But the messages? He sighed. I don't owe you explanations every time I talk to someone. His words hit me like a slap. I'm not accusing you. I just want truth. He stood up, voice cold. You're suffocating me. I felt tears sting, but stayed silent. That night, I lay awake, questioning everything. Was I crazy? Overreacting? Or was this the beginning of the end? I caught myself checking his phone again. The screen lit up. A message popped up. Miss you. My breath caught. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. Instead, I sat frozen, tears blurring my vision. Mark came in quietly. Why do you keep doing this to us? He whispered. I'm scared, I admitted, then stopped being paranoid. His words cut deeper than any betrayal. I realized trust was breaking, like fragile glass cracking under pressure, and no matter how much I tried, I wasn't sure if it could be fixed. I never meant to find out the way I did. I just wanted to grab Mark's jacket from the back of the chair. He left it there when he rushed out that morning. But then I saw it. The phone, left unlocked and blinking with messages. I shouldn't have looked. But I did. There it was. Pictures, him with her. I froze, the cold spreading through my body like ice water. Her smile was wide, bright, the way only someone who thinks they've won looks. I barely heard the door click behind me. What are you doing with my phone? Mark's voice was sharp, suspicious. I held the screen out to him, my hands trembling. Who is she? He glanced, then laughed. No, sneered. You're serious. That's none of your business. It is my business. She's in our house. His eyes darkened. Don't make a scene. I'm not the one cheating. He stepped closer, voice low, dangerous. You're blowing this out of proportion? Out of proportion? You're in pictures with her, Mark? He shook his head. You're imagining things. That's work stuff. I laughed bitterly. Work stuff? Is that what you call sneaking around? Mark's jaw tightened. Maybe you're the problem here. Always accusing. The room felt smaller, heavier. I can't do this anymore, I whispered. You're overreacting. Just like always. I turned and fled to Emma's place before I could say something I'd regret. Tell me everything. Emma said as soon as I sat down. I showed her the pictures, the messages. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. I'm sorry, babe. I really am. I don't even know who I am anymore. Emma reached out, squeezing my hand. You're stronger than this. You deserve better. I wiped my eyes, trying to hold it together. Have you talked to him? I shook my head. Not really. I'm scared of what he'll say. He won't fix this. You need to protect yourself. Days later, I watched Mark closely. The way he avoided my gaze, the quick answers, the silence. Why did you lie? I demanded one night. Lie about what? His voice was cold. The pictures, the texts. He looked away. I don't owe you explanations. But I'm your wife. That means nothing right now. I wanted to scream, to beg, to make him remember. Instead, I said, I trusted you. He shrugged like it meant nothing. That night, I sat alone, heartbreaking. How do you love someone who doesn't want to be loved? I called my sister Lucy. Lucy, it's worse than I thought. Tell me everything, she urged. I saw the pictures, the texts, the lies. There was a long silence. I'm sorry, sis. You don't deserve this. I'm tired of pretending, I confessed. You don't have to, not anymore. Her words were a lifeline. The next day, I confronted Mark again. Are you going to leave her? I asked, voice steady. He smirked. Maybe I already have. I felt the floor drop beneath me. Then why are you still here? Because it's convenient. Because you're predictable? Tears stung, but I refused to show them. You're cruel. He shrugged. I'm done being your fool. I'm not the villain here, he snapped. No, you're just a coward. I walked away, heart racing. I knew this was the end, but also somehow the beginning. I was done hiding. Done forgiving without justice. I was ready to fight for myself. Mark, we need to talk. My voice was steady, colder than before. He looked up from his phone, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. What now? I'm done with your lies, with your excuses, he smirked. Excuses? You mean the truth? Don't twist this. I stepped closer. You cheated. You betrayed everything we built. He shrugged like it was nothing. You think I wanted this mess? No. But you made it. My words were sharp, slicing through the silence. He stood, towering over me. You don't get to play victim here. I'm not playing anything. My hands clenched into fists. You're the one who's been lying. He laughed, dark and bitter. You act like I'm the monster. Maybe you're just too needy. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Needy? I was loyal. You're the one sneaking around. He rolled his eyes. You're paranoid, always accusing. Maybe. You should look in the mirror. I took a breath, fighting the rage bubbling inside. I'm done feeling small. Good. His smile was venomous. Because this isn't over. The air between us crackled with tension. No more love, no more trust. Just war. I started pulling away from friends who sided with him. Why are you cutting me off? And I asked one night, it's not you. It's them. They chose him. I swallowed the bitterness. I'm here for you, she said softly. Thanks, but I need space. Every day felt like a battle one. I wasn't sure I'd win out at work. I overheard whispers. Poor Mark. Can you believe she's ruining everything? There. Words stung, but I refused to let them break me. I sat alone at lunch, my fortress of solitude. One night, I dialed Lucy. I can't do this alone. I admitted. You're not alone. I'm with you. Her voice was steady, a beacon in the storm. I began planning. Not revenge like in the movies, but my own version, quiet, powerful. I'd reclaim my life piece by piece. No more hiding. I told myself. Mark tried to reach. Am he, but I ignored the calls. Why won't you talk? He demanded once. Because I'm done listening to lies. He sneered. You'll regret this. Maybe. I stood taller. But at least I'm honest. The war was silent but brutal. Every glance, every word, every moment charged with meaning. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the fighter, and I was ready. Didn't realize how fast rumors could spread until I became the story everyone whispered. About Dot at work, I caught the sideways glances, the sudden hush when I walked by. Did you hear what happened with Mark? One coworker asked another, eyes darting toward me. I tried to pretend I didn't hear. But the sting was sharp. Dot in the break room. Jessica smirked. I guess some marriages just aren't meant to last. I forced a smile, nodding politely, but inside I was crumbling. Dot later. My sister Lucy called. They're talking about you, she said softly. I know. My voice cracked. It feels like everyone's against me. You're not alone. But loneliness wrapped around me like a cold blanket. Dot at family dinners. Questions came veiled as concern. Are you sure you didn't push him away? My mother asked. I bit my lip. I didn't cause this. Her eyes narrowed, disbelief clear. The isolation tightened. I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Patel. Dot in her office. I spilled everything. Why do you doubt yourself? She asked gently. Because everyone else does. She nodded. You're not crazy. You're hurting. Those sessions became my lifeline. Slowly, I found moments of peace. A walk in the park, sunlight on my face, a good book that made me forget. A call from Emma, reminding me I mattered. One evening, Lucy texted, You're stronger than you know. Stared at the message, tears rolling down. Maybe healing wasn't about forgetting, but surviving. I looked in the mirror and whispered, I'm still here. And for the first time, I believed it. I never thought I'd want to meet her. The woman who took my husband from me. But when Mark started getting secretive calls, I found myself following him one evening, heart pounding like a drum. The cafe was quiet when I slipped inside, hiding behind a pillar. There she was, Lena, blonde hair, easy smile, the kind of charm that pulls people in. She laughed at something Mark said, touching his arm lightly. My stomach twisted. Do you think she knows about us? Mark asked, voice low. Lena's smile faltered. No one knows. And it stays that way. I clenched my fists, rage bubbling. Later, I overheard them talking about their plans, their future without me. Does she suspect? Mark asked. She's too blinded by love, Lena said, eyes cold. I wanted to scream, but I stayed silent. When Mark left, I sat down across from Lena. You don't know me, I said, voice steady. She looked up, surprised. And you are? I'm the wife you never cared about, she shrugged. He wanted more than what you gave? My blood boiled. More? You mean cheating? Lena leaned in. He was lonely. You were distant. Excuses? I spat. She smirked. Maybe, but I gave him what you didn't. I shook my head. You're just a distraction, a lie. Her eyes flashed. And you're just a woman holding on to a broken dream. The words stung, but beneath the anger, pity crept in. She wasn't the villain I imagined. Just another broken soul. Later, I called Lucy. I met her. How was it? Terrible and eye-opening. She's part of the story, but not the whole one. I nodded, tears falling. It's more than cheating. It's everything he never gave me. I know, but you're stronger. That night, I stared at my wedding ring, wondering if I could forgive, or if I needed to burn it to reclaim myself. I don't remember exactly when it all became too much. Maybe it was that night I sat on the bathroom floor, the cold tile pressing against my skin, tears streaming down like I'd been crying for days. The weight in my chest wasn't just heartbreak. It was a suffocating pressure that left me gasping for air. Why am I still here? I whispered to the empty room. The memories attacked me. Mark's smile at our wedding, the way he held my hand on lazy Sunday mornings, promises whispered in the dark. I clung to those moments like a lifeline, but now they felt like chains, trapping me in a prison of doubt and pain. I remembered the first time I caught that message. The disbelief, the desperate hope that it was all a mistake. But it wasn't. You're crazy, I muttered, rocking back and forth. A voice inside me begged for mercy. Another screamed for revenge. I thought about walking away, just leaving everything behind. But fear kept me rooted. What if I'm nothing without him? The thought broke me. That night, Emma called. "Hey," she said softly, "how are you holding up?" "I'm not," I confessed. "I feel like I'm falling apart." "Let it out. You don't have to be strong all the time." I cried into the phone, the sound raw and desperate. Days blurred. I barely ate, barely slept. I caught myself staring at my wedding ring. It felt heavy like a shackle. One morning, I sat at the kitchen table, heart pounding. "Maybe it's time," I whispered. I reached out and slipped the ring off my finger, cold metal in my palm. I looked at it like it was a piece of my past, beautiful, painful, and finally ready to be let go. Later, Lucy came over. "You're brave," she said, squeezing my hand. "I'm scared," I admitted. "But I can't keep living like this. That fear means you're alive. You'll find your way." For the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope. I stood in front of the mirror, eyes red but clear. "I'm not broken," I told my reflection. "I'm just beginning." I didn't want to wait for Mark to come to me. Not after everything. So I called him. "We need to talk," I said, voice calm but firm. He hesitated. "What now?" I didn't waste time. "I know everything." The texts, the pictures, the lies. There was a long pause. "Then you don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I replied. "You broke us, but I'm not going to be silent," he scoffed. "And what are you going to do? Make a scene?" "I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth." His confident facade cracked. "Please," he whispered, "don't do this." But I was done begging. Next, I met with a lawyer. I didn't want to think about divorce just yet, but I needed to protect myself. "Evidence is key," she said, flipping through the messages I collected. I nodded. "I want to be prepared." She smiled gently. "You're taking control. That's the first step." At work, whispers grew louder. Some sympathized, others judged. But I refused to shrink. When Mark tried to avoid me, I held my ground. One day, I confronted him in the elevator. "People are talking," I said quietly. He looked away. "Let them." "No, they need to know who you really are." His silence was my victory. I started posting subtle hints online, careful not to name names. A friend sent me screenshots of comments supporting me. I felt a spark of hope. Mark's world began to unravel. He stopped coming home on time. His once charming smile disappeared. When I ran into his coworkers, they avoided eye contact. It was like watching a slow motion fall. I wasn't the broken wife anymore. I was the storm. One night, Mark called. "Can we talk?" he pleaded. "No," I said firmly. "I'm sorry." But words meant nothing now. I'd reclaim my power, and nothing would take it away. Didn't expect the silence to be so loud. After everything, after I took back control, people either avoided me or stared as if I were broken glass, ready to shatter. One afternoon, Emma found me sitting alone during lunch. "Hey," she said softly, sliding into the seat beside me. "I'm tired." I admitted. She nodded. "I know. But you're stronger than you think." Her words felt like a balm. Later, Lucy called. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "Better. But I still hear the echoes. Those memories." I swallowed hard. "Yeah, the good and the bad." She reminded me healing doesn't mean forgetting. I looked at my reflection and whispered, "Can I forgive without losing myself?" Mark reached out once more. "Can we talk?" he said. I hesitated. "Not now," I replied. "I need time." Some friendships ended, others grew deeper. I learned who truly stood by me. One evening, I journaled, pouring my heart onto the pages. I Am not defined by his betrayal, I wrote. I am more than the pain. The wounds were still raw, but I felt a new strength growing. I wasn't the same woman who once believed in a perfect mask, was someone who had survived the storm, and I was ready to find peace. The sun crept through the curtains, casting golden light on my empty hand. The ring was gone, left on the windowsill where it caught the morning glow. I traced the faint scar on my finger where it once rested, feeling a strange mix of loss and freedom. Are you okay? Lucy asked softly over the phone. I am, I said, taking a deep breath. More than okay, she laughed. That's what I like to hear. I looked out the window, watching the world wake up. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was waking up too. Mark's voice echoed in my mind, pleading, blaming, empty. But I was done with that chapter. I'm starting over. I told Lucy, alone. She asked gently, maybe, or maybe not. I smiled, thinking of the possibilities. I called Emma later. I'm ready to live for me, I said. She cheered. You deserve it. I found a small notebook and wrote, today is my beginning. The past still whispered, but at no. Longer rolled me. I was stronger, wiser. I was whole, and this was my new dawn.